over a year ago, I set out to beat all the mainline Dark Pictures games without making any decisions. I say mainline because I am ignoring you, Switchback. And so here we are, with the final entry of Season 1 of the Dark Pictures anthology, The Devil in Me. So, let's answer the question. Can you beat the devil in me without making any decisions? The rules are simple to understand, all I have to do is not make decisions. Of course, I can still perform QTEs in the hopes of getting the best ending, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I do not get a good ending. I can confirm that. I do not get a good ending. The game starts with Jeff and Marie, the newlyweds, reserving a room at the World's Fair Hotel. Marie picks up some face powder and goes upstairs with Jeff to find their suite. Once in our suite, we challenge our husband to one-on-one combat that we of course win, and he gives us a necklace for our victory, proclaiming that we are better than him. We then budge open the door and get ready for a nice bath while Jeff heads downstairs to buy a razor kit at the pharmacy. On his way there, he finds a trap, but manages to dodge out of the way before he can fall in, thanks to my dexterous skills with the controller. He runs back to save his wife, who decides to do absolutely nothing as a stranger wanders in and drowns her. Yeah, no, I couldn't do a lot. That's on me. I chose to do this challenge. This is 100% on me. Anyway, at least Jeff doesn't have to live without his wife for very long. You know, because he died. Yeah, this isn't off to a great start, but to be fair, they would have died anyways. Anyway, we then get an introduction to all of our playable characters. We have Kate, the professional redhead, Mark, the professional camera head, Jamie, the second professional redhead, Aaron, the professional audio head, and lastly, Charlie, the professional white man diversity hire. The five of them make up Lana Entertainment, a wildly successful company known for their award-winning journalism and integrity. Is what I'll say if it wasn't run by Charlie. The show is failing, miserably, but an offer comes in clutch when Grantham Dumet invites him to a recreation of the Murder Hotel. You know, the one from the beginning. Anyway, they make it there after a long limo ride, and Charlie and Mark traverse the cliff edges hundreds of feet above the water, all to get a 5-second long shot. They then climb back down at, like, the speed of light before they take the ferry onto the island. Charlie asks Kate to investigate the island, and they gladly do just that. And so they fuck around, but thankfully don't find out, as they avoid detection and regroup with the others. Meeting up with the others, they see a little girl in the window and head inside. Jamie rejects Aaron in a very awkward moment, thanks to my lack of decisions, but is interrupted when their boss knocks on the door. Charlie needs his cigarettes and can't go longer than 5 seconds without a woman he has control over holding his hand, helping him through everything. Love you, Charlie. Anyway, Charlie goes to the bar to get cigarettes and fails to do so as we transition to Mark and Kate trying to shoot an intro. Along the way, jumping between dusty cabinets and bookshelves, all for literally nothing as they don't even have enough time to shoot anything before dinner starts. Before they head back downstairs, however, Kate decides to shit-talk Charlie, rightfully so, and Mark, understandably, stays completely silent before Charlie grabs her attention and they head to dinner. Sitting at the dinner table, things get a little spooky as Jamie confirms that Dumet is gone. Like, gone, as in, like, not on the island gone, you know? So, with their esteemed host missing, the crew gets restless and Charlie starts a toast. A toast that he doesn't finish, because, you know, we can't make any choices. Interestingly, Mark actually finishes the toast in a moment I don't think I've ever seen before in any of my playthroughs, so that was cool. And now that the dinner is done, it's time for the first potential death of the game and of Aaron's. We run down the spooky hallway before being trapped and cornered by your average Redditor, but because we don't attack, he decides to let us go. For now, that is. Charlie and Jamie then go out to find Demet/scout for shots, and find a trail of what I can only imagine is strawberry jam. After following the trail, it is safe to say it was not strawberry jam. Obviously. Anyway, with Charlie frozen with analysis paralysis, or at least I think that's the terminology, he doesn't move off the pressure pad, but before Dumet can hurt him, Jamie pulls him away, potentially saving him. They retreat to the lobby and attempt to escape without the others, which is kind of fucked up. So luckily there's a barricade in front of the doors to stop the game from ending too early. We cut to Kate and Mark arguing over pink kryptonite. Pink kryptonite? Well, that would explain why Kate and Jamie hate one another. They had to start their enemies to lovers AO3 arc somehow. Anyway, Yuri aside, Kate and Mark don't get back together due to Kate's newfound love for Jamie and go to find the others. They regroup with Charlie and Jamie before a wall tries to separate them, and because they aren't MAGA, they try to stop the wall from separating people meant to help one another. Unfortunately, they fail as Charlie's hand does an oopsie daisy. Jamie and Charlie venture forth into the darkness before stumbling across a child's voice, and of course, are then separated from one another as Charlie falls into the back rooms and Jamie stays up top. Erin then fails to notice her door closing as she is lured into the Silver Ash Institute for the second potential death of the game, and you would think doing nothing would get her killed, but it doesn't. That comes later. We cut back to Kate and Mark as they discover some mannequins that look very alike and aren't, bald for some reason, but only for the black characters. I don't know, I don't work here. Jamie then storms through the door, reuniting with Kate, who tries to share her What? Jamie then storms through the door, reuniting with Kate, who tries to share her true feelings that she got from the pink kryptonite, but Jamie interrupts her, preferring to touch an eye than admit her true feelings for someone who talks like an extra from Hogwarts. Fuck J.K. Rowling, by the way. We cut back to Charlie making it through a maze, only to enter the most obvious trap possible. Oh my god, it literally has bait. Charlie, do you need it that bad? Anyway, Charlie burns to death for being such a freaking goof. Also, because we couldn't make any decisions, that's the main reason. So yeah, we got one death on the board. Count them up. By the way, for every person that dies, I have to sit through the Oh Death intro from Season 1 and force myself to not plug my ears and go la 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 la. So, pray for me. Anyway, with Charlie smoking with the big guy upstairs now, we cut to Mark, Kate, and Jamie, and they react surprisingly sad to their boss's death and stumble through the Columbus Spa, essentially stumbling across a trap laid by Dumet, and inside are Erin and Kate. Jamie's two loves. Who will she choose? Nothing. She chooses nothing. You watch the fucking video. Yeah, she chooses nothing, which results in Erin dying. Somehow coughing up blood, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but maybe it's like trauma or something. I don't know. Anyway, the survivors make a plan to go to the lighthouse, and of course, immediately split up. Mark is thrown into the back rooms and gets chloroformed. Jamie finds the remains of Dumet's bestest friend in the whole wide world before meeting... Jamie finds the remains of Dumet's bestest friend in the whole wide world before meeting back up with our love Kate and investigating the control center. Looking at the blueprints, Jamie and Kate, K-I-S-S-I-N-G, decide to lure Dumet and trap him in between the moving walls. Kate wishes Jamie the best, and then Jamie does not get the best, like at all. She dies. Is what I would say if I was lying, but I'm not because she survived. Ha! I'm kidding again. She actually did survive both times. You're fucking stupid. With Jamie and Kate somehow having both survived the trap, they escape and Dumet comes to check on them, but they run away out of pure fear, understandably so. Also, just for the record, I don't actually think you're stupid. I was joking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, Mark wakes up and escapes the back rooms.
I like it in here. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Before immediately cutting back to Kate and Jamie up on the roof. With Jamie about to be killed by Dumet, Kate has a choice to save her or do nothing. And of course, doing nothing results in saving her? What? Why does it say that? Whatever. We go through the maze that reminded me a lot of the, that one horror movie that just came out. Right, Obsession. Also, fuck a bear. Not like in a wholesome way. That's a completely different circumstance, which you also shouldn't do. We make it through the maze to go under the statue and get chased by Dumet throughout the farmhouse, eventually falling down into the forest. We cut to Mark in the pool, where he gets a helping hand. Helping hand. To make it through the pool house. We then climb and jump our way to the freezer locker full of scrapped video ideas before making it to the lighthouse. Kate and Jamie save a dog named after Iceman as they also make it to the lighthouse. Speaking of said lighthouse, Mark and Esther turns on the light to the lighthouse before getting jump scared by the scariest thing out there. Jamie and Kate make it into the lighthouse and find Mark wheezing on the ground and escape Dumet before getting hurt for like the billionth time before making it to the boathouse. Yosef then gets murdered by Dumet while the survivors do what you're supposed to do when a cop needs help. Absolutely nothing. Unfortunately, the threat isn't over as while out on the water, Dumet climbs onto the boat, throws off Connie, and begins to finally pose a threat when Jamie hits him with a canister and has a choice to jump off or attack. And if we do nothing, well, let's just say Jamie gets sent to the back rooms upstairs. Heaven. She dies. Anyway, Mark also dies, but I don't give a shit about him, so we move on to Kate, who is actually able to survive the night as she jumps off of the exploding boat. So, we answered the question. That's it. It's done. Can you beat the devil in me without making any decisions? And the answer was a resounding yes. So, with that challenge done, it is safe to say my journey has come to an end. I have beaten what I set out to do a year ago with all the Dark Pictures Season 1. And now, well, now I have to delete my channel. I can't make any more videos, and I have to die. Wait. No. No!
No, 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 don't do it!
Yeah, nobody's asking me to do this, but I'm gonna do it because I want to. The vid will hopefully come out soon. Thank everybody so much for watching. Let me know what you thought and would like to see next. Thank you once again, and remember, make good choices.